This will be a session to define or explain some common computer jargon terms that I have often heard misdescribed or that folks have asked me to expand on. The items that I have selected come from one of two sources, either a website called Computer Jargon Explained by John Storm, or another one, much more extensive, which are definitions from the Tech Terms Computer Dictionary. And you can get to any of these places using the tiny URL addresses that are provided here. Of course, there is good old Google. And if you want further descriptions of anything that's talked about here, you can certainly put that term in to Google and get a lot more places to look. And finally, you will be able to download this whole document so you can read it at your leisure using the bottom tiny URL. For those who might want to only look at one or two of the 35 terms that I've selected for this discussion, I'm now going to quickly step through all 35 of them so that you can so that you will know what's there, and you can go to the one or two that you want by fast forwarding or rewinding. And now I'll have some comments on each of these items of computer jargon as we go through them. The first is an app, and an app is simply a shorthand for application, which of course is another word for program. Apps have come to be described as applications that can be easily downloaded on smartphones and tablets and other small devices that you carry with you. Backup and to backup. One is what you do, and the other is what you have when you do it. And of course, backup is an extra copy of your work saved somewhere which is not going to disappear if your computer is stolen or if your hard drive crashes. Batch file. A batch file is a type of little mini program, commonly called a script, which will run something in your computer. You are not likely to run into that very often. BIOS. BIOS is Basic Input and Output System, and it's a program built into every computer to tell your computer the basics about your computer. You don't need to get into that very often, and it's stored in a special type of memory. Byte. Byte is a basic unit of measurement. A byte was originally constructed to be about the size of a character in DOS. And a byte was 8 bits. Each bit was either a 1 or a 0, and you can describe some 1,000 different characters that way with 1 byte. Of course, after bytes, we went to kilobytes, and then megabytes, and then gigabytes, and then terabytes. And I'll cover each of those as we go along. Each is 1,000 times the one before it. The next word is often mispronounced. It's cache, just like C-A-S-H. And it is a small piece of memory in your computer set up for a certain thing to remember, like a web page that you've recently visited, so you can get back there easily. CAPTCHA. A CAPTCHA is a little program, and it is used to verify that a real live human being did something on your computer, not a robot. A CAPTCHA is running when you're entering information on the internet, and it asks you to look at a little picture of some numbers and some letters that are all squiggly or lying on their side, and asks you to type the real numbers in a box right under that squiggly picture. The cloud. We all sort of know what the cloud is. We think that it's sort of out there where some stuff on the internet is. Well, the cloud is just a way to describe all the various places where you or Google or someone else can store lots and lots of information. When things are stored in the cloud, they're not really out there in cyberspace. They're on some server in somebody's building somewhere. And for the example of Google Drive, where I have stored a copy of this document that I'm reading from at the moment and showing you, that document on Google Drive is actually on a server somewhere that belongs to Google. And Google is allowing you and me to go out there to that server and look at it. And I can keep it there for nothing as long as I don't exceed the amount of storage that Google has allowed me for free, which is really quite a bit. It's at the moment, I think it's 15 gigabytes. But the cloud is, we think of it as out there in cyberspace, but it really is a bunch of different servers run by a bunch of different companies in different places, depending upon what you have where. Let's talk about cookies. Cookies are small data files stored on your computer, and they get stored there by websites. Now, this definition says that it's in theory to allow it to remember your preferences, but in practice mostly used to track which advertisements you have seen. I kind of disagree with that. Let me show you why. Every day I go to the Motley Fool's Mechanical Investing discussion board, and I read a lot of the messages on there. Here they are. Notice that they are sorted by the subject. Someone named Fool from Fool came in and wrote this message on the 4th of October at 10:26, and someone else responded to it pretty soon, within a half an hour. And then someone else responded, and then someone else responded. But the last message in that subject, that thread of discussions, so far is 2 days after the first one. So this is sorted so that the next subject, which came in down here, still on the 4th. In fact, before the first answer came in here at 10:54 p.m., the next subject came in at 10:42 p.m. If this discussion board had been sorted by arrival times, this message would have been right after that. And then I think probably would have been this message, and then probably this one here. And the subjects would have been all mixed up. I don't like it like that. In order to make sure that I get it that way, I have to go to Customize, which allows me to set display settings. And one of the things in display settings says sort the messages by threading, or I could sort the messages by date and number, namely unthreaded. I don't want to do that. I want the messages sorted by threading. So I am one of those that says, don't set your browser to reject all cookies, and don't set your browser to delete all cookies as soon as you close your browser, because I want it to remember the way I like to look at discussion boards and how they are sorted. And I also don't mind getting advertisements shown to me that are similar to advertisements that I've actually clicked on because I was curious about them. That way I get to see more ads about investments and vacation rentals and computer user groups, and less about flower shows and recipes for lasagna. CPU stands for Central Processing Unit. This is the heart of your computer. It adds, it subtracts, it does logical functions like if number A is bigger than number B, put a plus next to the difference. Whereas if number A is smaller than number B, put a minus next to the difference. CPUs are tiny for what they do. And as I said, they are the heart of your computer. Cyberspace. It is the internet and places on the internet. DOC and DOCX are file suffixes or file name extensions. What's a file name extension? It's the thing that comes after the description of the file name, the name of the file, which tells you what kind of a file it is. For example, this file that you're looking at is named Computer Jargon 4. The .doc in that name says that this is a Microsoft Word document produced in a version of Microsoft Word earlier than 2007. A DOCX after the file name means that it was produced in a version of Word 2007 or later. A domain is an internet address. They are unique. They are owned by a company, an organization, or an individual. And once you buy one, which costs you a small amount of money, maybe $10 a year, once you buy that, as long as you keep paying, it's yours. Examples are nasa.gov, Microsoft.com. My vacation rental domain name is visitprinceville.com, and the Seniors Computer Group's domain name is scgsd.org. A driver. A driver is a small program, and it's used by the operating system of your computer to control some piece of hardware. There's a unique driver for every separate piece of hardware used by your computer, like a sound or a video card, or like your mouse, or like your printer. FLV. FLV is another file extension. And a file with the FLV file extension is a flash video file. FLV files were defined and developed by Adobe Systems, and they usually run in your browser when you click on something that is a video on a page that your browser has pulled up. HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. And that markup language is used for creating pages on the internet, on the web. The language really tells your browser what to do. Let me give you a specific example. Here is a page of messages on the mechanical investing discussion board of the Motley Fool. If I click on a message on here, the message comes up, and if I want to comment on something, some part of that message, and post a reply, I can do the following. I click here that says post reply, and I get the previous message up here, which I can copy and paste into the beginning of my message. And then I can type after that, gee, that's brilliant! Exclamation point. Now, supposing I want to put this part of the message in italics. If I type this, and then this, those brackets at the beginning of that section, and then I type the bracket, the slash mark, the I again, and then the other bracket there, and then I look at the result of that by previewing the message. Look what happens. What I typed and put the brackets around is in italics, and what I typed after that is in regular type. The bracket sign I, end bracket sign here, and the bracket sign I and the slash end bracket sign there are really right here. But my browser looks at that bracket sign and obeys a command. Make all this stuff after that in italics until you come to this other thing with the I with a slash in front of it. That is a very good example of hypertext markup language, HTML. HTTP. Once again, it's about hypertext. This one stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. And that is the system, the protocol, the language that computers use to send web pages over the internet to you. And almost every address of an internet page starts with that HTTP. IP address, standing for Internet Protocol Address. It's a unique number assigned to any computer connected to the internet, including mine and including yours. Here's how to find yours. Put my IP address lookup in Google, go to the first thing on the list, and click My IP. And lo and behold, there is the IP address of my computer. Java. Java is a programming language, and you will see it doing things on web pages. JPEG stands for Joint Picture Experts Group, and it's pronounced JPEG. It's the organization that set up the standards for a type of compressed picture, which is very widely used on the internet and for storing photographs, because it allows a pretty high quality picture with not such a huge size of the file. A kilobyte. A kilobyte is once again a unit of measurement for pieces of information stored on your hard drive or shown, displayed on your computer, or the size of a piece of RAM. A kilobyte is thought of as 1,000 bytes, but it's actually 1,024 bytes. A macro. A macro is a small program used to quickly bring up something you have done or repeat something you have done in the past in the program you are in right now. You can have macros in spreadsheets that will copy formulas from one place to another. You can have macros in Word documents. Let me show you an example. If I go to a new Word document and then go up to Tools and click Macro and then go to Macros, there is a macro in this computer, in this copy of Word, that will bring up a format for a letter by me. All I have to do is click Run, and look what happens. I have a heading, today's date, the salutation, and the sincerely with a place for my signature. That is a macro that I recorded about 5 minutes ago in Word. Malware. Malware is a catch-all term for software that is installed onto a PC by stealth. That is, you didn't really do it yourself, or you didn't intend to do it, but it got there probably by something you did. And it's software that's installed for bad purposes, malevolent purposes. It may be for displaying unwanted ads. It may be for spying on your activities by recording all the keys that you type. It may be for other reasons, to steal your bank account or your address book or your passwords. Malware. A megabyte. Once again, a unit of measurement for pieces of information. Normally thought of, a megabyte is thought of as 1 million bytes or 1,000 kilobytes. It isn't exactly that number because of the nature of digital arithmetic, but it's pretty close. MIME, M-I-M-E, standing for Multipurpose Internet Mail Extension. It is an internet standard. Email was originally designed to use just plain text in the ASCII format, the basic format for computers, for text in computers. But later people wanted to send photographs as attachments. They wanted to put pictures or diagrams in the text of their email, and in order to do that, there had to be an internet standard set up so that such things as pictures or diagrams or attachments could be inserted into email messages and be recognized at the other end. Modem. It stands for modulator demodulator, and it's a device for allowing computers to communicate over a phone line or over an internet cable. POP3, standing for Post Office Protocol version 3. It's a protocol for transmitting and receiving email, and if you need to set up an email program, you may need to call your internet service provider and ask them about POP3 for your system. PUP stands for Potentially Unwanted Program. It's similar to malware in that it may cause problems once it's installed, but unlike malware, which shows up whether you wanted it or not, you actually consent to a PUP rather than something installing itself without your knowledge. RAM, standing for Random Access Memory. That's the memory in your computer that holds the things that are going on right now on your computer. Right now, my computer is holding all these words and all these boxes and divisions, and it's also holding the recording of my voice that I'm making right now. And if I don't save all those things when I shut my computer down, when I turn it off, what is in RAM will disappear, which is why you have to save anything you're working on that you wish to keep in another type of memory that doesn't disappear when you turn off your computer, like your hard drive. That is, you hope it doesn't, which is why you back up. The registry. The registry is a file on your computer which contains all the settings for your computer and its software. And if the registry gets corrupted, your computer may very well not run at all, which is the reason that my rule is don't mess with the registry. RTF. It is another file extension. I could have a file called computerjargon.rtf, which would indicate that that file was in rich text format. It was standardized by Microsoft for creating files that are slightly more interesting and able to express themselves than .txt files, but nowhere near as complicated as .doc files. Let me give you an example of an RTF document or an RTF statement. Here is some RTF code which goes before this file, which says this is some, and then notice this here and text. And when that is printed in almost any word processor, it would come out this way. This is some bold text, and the word bold would be bolded. In that regard, it's a little bit like HTML. Save. In computerese, that means copy whatever you're working on, which right now is in RAM, random access memory, which will disappear when you turn your computer off. But if you save it, you are copying it from that RAM to permanent storage, usually your hard drive. If you want to know what the difference between save and save as is, spend some time with my mini seminar on how to save things so that you can find them again later, which is in the index. SMTP, standing for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. It has to do with the way your email is transmitted between you or between your email program and the rest of the world. And if you need to deal with this, my best advice is call your internet service provider and ask for help. A terabyte. Once again, a unit of measurement. A terabyte is about 1 trillion bytes. It's about 1 billion kilobytes. It's about 1 million megabytes, or 1,000 gigabytes. Considering that my first computer only had 80 megabytes of hard drive, I am finding it rather difficult to believe that I now have a 3 terabyte external hard drive to back up my computer. Toolbar. Instead of reading you the definition or giving you mine, let me just show you what toolbars are. Here's one. It's the menu toolbar. It's always there in Word. Here's another one, and here's another one, and here's another one. And let me show you how you decide whether you show them or not. If you click View and go down to Toolbars, it shows a list of all the toolbars you may have. And right now we have the standard toolbar, the formatting toolbar, and the mail merge toolbar. Let me take the check away from that mail merge toolbar, and you will see that it's the toolbar on this level that will disappear. Mail merge, watch up there even with web layout. See? Disappears. I don't know why that was in there. I used it a little while back. Let me show you another program and their toolbars. Here's an example. You go to View, then you go to Toolbars, and you can check or uncheck whatever toolbars are available in Firefox. If I uncheck the menu bar, watch what happens to this File, Edit, View, etc. I go to View, I go to Toolbars, and I uncheck the menu bar, and whoops, there's no menu bar, so there's no view. So how do I get it back? I type the Alt key, and when I type the Alt key, File, Edit, View, and History comes up, and then if I click View, and then if I go to Toolbars, and then I put a check mark back in Menu Bar, the File, Edit, View, History, Bookmarks, Tools, and Help is available to me again. URL. It stands for Universal Resource Locator. It is the web address that you put in, or that Google puts in for you, to the address locator place in your browser. Let me show you. Here is the browser, and right now I have a Wikipedia address of rich text format in this browser, which is why I was showing you things about rich text format in Wikipedia. Now, if I go to something else, like, let's see, we'll pull up a new tab, and in the new tab, we'll pull up a website. No, we won't. We'll pull up today's stock market. There is the URL for the page that I now have. It says finance.yahoo.com/market overview. And there is today's market overview for what happened in the stock market. That there is the Universal Resource Locator. That concludes my discussion of computer jargon and the terms that I picked to discuss. But remember that there are plenty of places where you can find this yourself by just putting computer jargon in Google, or you can go to this website, which is where I got a number of these definitions, or you can go to this website, where I got a number of others. Have fun. Learn lots.